What's up, everybody? It's Eric. I'm back with the Wolf's Den podcast. So I want to start this podcast out with giving glory to God before we start our podcast. So I wanted to kind of jump into this podcast about a story that I had, right? So when I was 18 years old, 18, roughly close to 19, I walked into a Muay Thai gym, right? It was a boxing gym. It was a boys and girls club where a lot of the kids went there to train. It was on a east side, of course, of town, in the area that I lived at. There was a famous boxer at the time that was training there, but at the time he was very young. He wasn't as famous as he is now. So going to this gym, I walked in, and that was my very first time actually walking into a real fight gym. And it was an old building. There was a ring in it. There was a couple punching bags up that were old and just beat up. I remember the smell of that gym. You never really smell it. Forget that smell. There wasn't no, it was like cement floors. There was no padding on the floor. There wasn't no wrestling mats. It was a real hardcore, old school, like Rocky style, like the movie Rocky, that type of gym. So I went up and I was hanging out with the wrong crowd at the time. To be honest, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just kind of fucking up. I got out of high school. I was supposed to go to college. I was supposed to play football, and just fucked off. I was in a bad relationship with someone at the time. I was real young, off and on, and came with a Taekwondo background. I had some boxing experience from my family and my dad, and the karate experience I had growing up. But I wanted to do something with kickboxing, so when I went there, like I said, I walked into this gym, and there was an old guy that was there, and he was training some of the boxers that were there, and they also offer kickboxing. So I kind of said, which one do you want to do, boxing or kickboxing? I said, I want to learn kickboxing. Well, the art that we learn here is Muay Thai. And I didn't know what Muay Thai was. There was really no internet back then. There was, but it was one of those dial-up internets where it takes forever, and it's like, you gotta wait for that sound. And so I really didn't get a chance to research it. All he told me was it was Muay Thai. It's a very brutal sport. Some of our guys fight Muay Thai, and you have a high chance of getting hurt. I said, good, sign me up. Let's go, right? It's not what I really said. I kind of thought about it, and I was like, fuck, is this something I really want to do? So we talked for a little bit. I said, yeah, let's do it. He said, there's elbows involved. There's a lot of shins involved. There's a lot of kicking, and you need conditioning. So I signed up, got my clearance. I had to go get for that club, I had to get a physical done, got my physical, came back with my paperwork. Good. Got started up, brought my gloves in, got some hand wraps. I did not know how to really tie the hand wraps. When I was a kid growing up boxing, we kind of just threw the gloves on, hit the bags, whatever my family, my uncle, my dad would show me. We'd spar with my brothers, get in fights with the kids in the neighborhood, really started learning how to really just throw fights, right? And then a lot of the street fights, I remember I would just anytime I got in a street fight, especially growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, I would fight some of the dudes from a neighborhood, and I'd put the boxing gloves on, and we'd go in the front yard, and I would just quick jab them, right? I knew I had a good jab. So a lot of the guys I would always hit straight in the nose, especially if I boxed them, I'd just boom, hit them straight in the nose. And that would make their eyes water. I could see their eyes water. I'm like, yeah, dude, I got them. Or some of their nose was busted, right? But going back to the gym, I remember coming in there. He's like, hit the bag, show me what you got. He was like, oh, you got some work to do. So I would hit the bag, just boom, 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 just hit the bag, kind of like Rocky style. He would tell me I needed to flow with it. Then I remember it came time to kick the bag. Man, kicking the bag with shins. I came with Taekwondo kicks and karate kicks where I'm used to snapping, but these kicks had to come in just chop down, right? He would tell me, just imagine this is a tree and you need to chop down the tree. and I would kick the bag as hard as I could until my shins would bleed and my shins would get bloody. Then he would have me do duck walks, and I felt like I was in the movie of like a Van Damme movie, right? Like getting ready to go and fight a big fight. And I would do these duck walks over and over and over these duck walks, man. It would suck. My next day I couldn't even fucking walk. And there was a couple of times where I'd be like, he's like, hey kid, where you gonna go? I was like, I'm gonna walk home. If you're gonna walk home, you know, it was a bad side of town and you have no sweater. I didn't have a sweater, right? I didn't have really that much money, so I didn't have a sweater or anything I would bring. I mean, I could barely afford gloves and hand wraps. And I think the gloves were given to me. So I would walk home just fucking drenched. One day the coach was like, hey man, I'll give you a ride. And so he would give me a ride home and, you know, I would catch the bus and go back and train again. And one day there were some dudes sparring and I would see him. One of the kickboxers was young. He was a young kid. He was sparring in there. I said, coach, throw me in. He said, no, you're not ready yet. You're just not ready. I was like, come on, man, throw me in. I'm ready. He's like, no, you're not ready. Hit the bag, kid. And at the time, I just wanted to go in there and just take my anger out. I was just a fucking angry kid. And I was just like, in my mind, I was like the Hulk. I just wanted to run through. One thing he told me was like, when I would hit mitts with him, I'd be like, you know, you got a really good right hand. It's almost like it's like you're hitting like Tyson. Like if you throw that right hand at the right time, you're going to be able to knock some dudes out. So, okay. And I remember one day they got a little ball, and it was actually a big ball. They had a rope tied in, and he said, okay, I want you to slip. So as soon as you slip, the ball's gonna come behind you. And I was like, fuck, how am I gonna dodge this ball? So he would throw the ball super hard, right? And I would see it coming in the front, and I would slip the shoulder, and I didn't know where it was coming in the back, and boom, I'd get hit in the back of the head. Come on, kid, you gotta have movement. I didn't know, I wasn't really like a big dancer. I did breakdancing when I was younger, a lot of popping. I even won an award for breakdancing when I was younger, but this is junior high and I was a little bit older. But I just couldn't move the way he wanted me to. So every time that ball hit, it just got me in the back of the head. And then there was times where he was like, close your eyes, close my eyes and try to slip, boom, and get hit, right? Then I got used to it, and I would throw my 1-2s and then slip and then kind of wait till like I got hit again, and just kind of got used to just kind of moving a little bit. And so this went on for a while until there was a time that I was in the wrong time at the wrong place and I got jumped. I got beat up, right? I got jumped and I was like, fuck, dude, fuck this, right? Like, I mean, I was able to get a couple shots off to really defend myself. Little things he taught me, the check kick and, you know, maybe a little tie kick, and didn't really, but there was a lot of them. And remember, I just quit. And I called him and he was like, oh no, come on, we'll come pick you up. Don't worry, come back to the gym. And I was like, nah, I just did whatever. They even called my work. And I wasn't answering my phone. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was already upset that I had gotten beat up. So I was upset that I got beat up and I wasn't able to defend myself. So I went back to him and I talked to him and I said, hey man, like, is there, after a few months went by, I said, hey man, you know, I really want to come back. And he said to me over the phone, this is what the coach is, and I called him and I said, hey man, I want to come back, you know? And he said, I get it, dude. Like those things probably took a lot of toll out of you. And I told him, yes, sir, it did. And he said, I can't train you. And I said, why? He said, if I train you, you're coming back to take vengeance. You're not coming back for the right reasons. You want me to teach you an art, and you want payback. That's what you know. He was absolutely 100% right. I was looking for payback. I was looking to let my anger out. I wanted to learn how to really hurt people. So that kind of just fell out, right? Later on, I met a couple of the guys. Me and this dude would go read books at the library, and we'd go train MMA, right? MMA was coming out. We'd go train at the parks. We got some books, try to train jiu-jitsu, judo, you know, punching. was watching things. The UFC was out. It was very, you know, there was a bunch of other stuff coming out about fighting. So we'd go train and kick each other's ass at the park. And I would show him some kickboxing moves, some taekwondo moves, karate moves, and he would show me what he knew. And we were big on trying to be fighters. So me and that dude, we just stopped training altogether, right? He went his way, I went my way, he went back. It was just, I didn't want to go back to getting in trouble again. So I kind of found another gym, and that led me to really figuring out that I wanted to be a fighter. And the reason that I wanted to fight is because, I love the sport. I love when I would box and really get kickboxing and get hit, it would make me feel alive, right? Like it would make me feel alive and I would love it, right? Like you could hit me and I would love it. Even the times I did get knocked out, I got knocked out in the ring before where lights are out. And those things made me love the sport because it made me appreciate it. It made me realize I wasn't the toughest dude on the block and that I needed some more work. And having all these memories, these things were back in you got to think 98, 99 to 2000 when I really started trying to dive deep into this stuff. It wasn't until 2005, around that time, that I really started getting deep with MMA. So it was it's been one heck of a roller coaster, one heck of a ride. I have all these memories and stories I want to share with you guys. I'm going to be diving into some more of these stories with you guys. But this is one of the stories I share with you tonight. Drop a like, a comment if you want. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Wolves Den podcast. I'll be sharing a lot more stories, especially from the fight world. Till next time, have a great night. God bless. Oos, I'm out.